All right, we are here with Frank Quappa, fourth place at Untapped Locals, Untapped Games, that is, over in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. What did you play, Frank?
I played Kashtira Therion, aka Big Idiot Turbo.
All right, let's see that Big Idiot Turbo, baby.
All right, so you start with all the Therions. So because it's mainly Therions, we play a pretty big package, probably bigger than what you're used to seeing. So 3 Regulus, the Negate, 3 Lily Borea, the Searcher. These are probably the ones everyone's used to seeing. Then we've got 2 Bull, 2 Reaper, 1 Irregular, 1 Empress, and 1 Duke.
All right.
I don't have solid ratios on all these. This was the first week I ever tested the deck. It was actually the first locals I ever tested the deck at. So I'm definitely going to shift around some of these ratios. This is good. This is good. I like this at 2. This could probably go down to 1. I might even consider cutting these 3. So we got to kind of see how that goes.
All right. But generally, what's the strat with using the Therion engine?
So the Therions, I really like them because they have a really, really good grind game and a lot of power. They're just very slow early game where you're probably getting like a Negate and maybe like a Renate, the Regulus, and like a Reaper setup to bounce. But I really like the field spell. I think it's one of the best field spells in the game. That's kind of what drew me to the deck. Just the recursion. They have almost everything. They just don't have speed. They're very slow. And they're bricky, which is why you kind of want to combine them with something else.
All right. What'd you combine them with then?
The last 2 things before I go into the Kashtiras. 1 Planet Pathfinder and 1 Lone Fire. Again, like this was kind of put together last minute for local, so I didn't have a lot of time to optimize things. Planet Pathfinder is good for a combo I'll show off later, and Lone Fire is just an extra normal summon to get Lily Borea out of deck, which gets you to the whole combo.
Yeah, and to mention, this is all for new lists, right?
Yeah, exactly. New ban list.
Heck yeah. All right.
So then we've got, for the Kashtiras, we've got the 3 Fenris and the 3 Unicorns.
Flip them?
Oh, flip them? Okay. Yeah. There we go. So, there's not really much to say about these cards. It probably already hasn't been said. Fenrir is an insane card. Getting the extra discard's nice because with the Therion engine, typically you are pitching cards, so it's nice to retain that advantage. And even same with Unicorn Searching Birth, which I do play. The extra X Snipe is nice. I played against Sprite tonight. I hit a Sprint, which just makes things a little awkward. The Banish Face down effect's really good. Plus, this is Wind, which comes up a lot against Flaunderies when the Barrier Statue lock you. So, like, it's super helpful.
All right.
Okay. That's it for the Kashtira stuff. So now I'll just play.
So it's all the monster count?
That's all the monsters in the deck.
All
now
right.
let's put out all the Therion stuff. All Therion spells and traps. So we've got 3 of field spell. Enough said. You know, it's probably one of the best field spells in the deck. I mean, in the game, I think. On activation, Search of Therion, and then you have the 2 effects during the battle phase. One that does battle protection for Foolish of Endless Agyro or any Therion monster. And when any monster is destroyed by battle, you get to take a Therion monster down to your hand. So a lot of recursion. This card is like deceivingly good. The fact that it's a Foolish helps get all your plays started as long as you have any Therion in your hand. Lets you get to anything. And the graveyard recursion effect is super nice. It comes up mid to late game. And it basically, just this being in the graveyard forces a lot of, when you're playing against tier elements, it basically forces them to try to get rid of this as soon as possible and shuffle back in because it gives you a lot of value in the graveyard. And lastly, these 3, 1 each for the Therion spells and traps. Big fan of this card, but you only want it at 1. I think it can be bricky. Same with this. I really like searching this game 2 game 2 and 3 to dig just for side deck cards. I didn't actually use this one. This is a Monster Reborn, and it equips your Therion with a card from your hand or graveyard. In theory, this should be good. I just kind of wanted to try all 3 and see what came up. These 2 definitely didn't. This one didn't come up, so I might just cut this.
So are those ones that you generally want to search rather than hard draw? Okay.
Yeah. You don't really want to hard draw these. And then what's great is they're all 3 of them are recyclable through the Endless Agyro system. So you don't need multiple copies.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really good.
Pretty good.
Absolutely. All right. Next we'll go on to the 2 Kashtira Births. Initially I was playing 1, but I really, really like this card. This card is like crazy strong. It puts on a lot of pressure. I mean, the banish from graveyard effect is really good, but even beyond that, just the ability to normal summon level 7, which comes up when you have your Bull or your Reaper Therions, which helps you make like link summons. Being able to pitch a Fenrir or a Unicorn and then summon it back later with Birth is really, really nice. Helps keep the grind and pressure going. Helps make link summons, which can be like sort of awkward in certain positions. So it's very good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Like I like this a lot. I think about cutting it to 1 because it is recyclable through Barricade Board Blocker, which I need to pick up. We won't see it in this deck profile, but it's really, really good in this build. And lastly, just kind of the random utility cards: 2 Foolish Goods, 1 Clockwork Knight, 1 Foolish Burial, 3 TTT, and Terraforming. So Foolish Burial Goods sends Clockwork Knight.
This is new, right, from the set, or?
Yeah, it just came out in Battles of Legend.
All right, so
Crystal
what does
Revenge.
this do?
So, the on-field effect isn't what you're playing this for. You're playing it for the graveyard effect. The on-field effect makes everything a machine, and all your dudes gain 500 attack.
All right,
the grave
flu.
Yeah, exactly. It does come up very, very seldomly. But you're playing it for the graveyard effect, which is pitch a card from hand. You banish it, pitch a card from hand, then search an Earth Machine. So this does 2 things. It searches your Regulus or your Planet Pathfinder, and then gets a card out of your hand, which helps you kind of declog your hand. And what's really cool is like if you like already set up and you don't need Disco Elysium, you don't have to search Pathfinder. But if you need access to that card, just searching Pathfinder normal summoning gets you to the field spell, which then gets you to Regulus. So it's pretty nice.
All right.
And this also sends Endless Agyro, which comes up sometimes to help recycle your cards in your graveyard. The rest, Foolish Burial, TTT.
Yeah, how do you like this over like hand traps?
It's really good because like this deck has a lot of gas once you like get going. Like early game's probably the worst, so this kind of helps you out in early game to help draw cards, to help kind of get control of the field. Because like once you're established, it's really hard for them to completely break your board because you keep coming back with things. So this helps a lot in early game and going second, which I like a lot. And then Terraforming.
Yeah. So you wouldn't play like a Pot of Prosperity or Extravagance or anything?
I might test it. Probably not the Prosperity. I feel like this deck doesn't brick too much. So I don't think that. Maybe the extra, I have to kind of see the Kashtira cards a little bit more.
All right.
But other than that, no, I like the main deck. Definitely, like I said, I'm going to work on the not the Kashtira ratios, the Therion ratios. I'll go into the extra deck. This was very much thrown together at the last minute, so
do you need your extra deck? Is it like a...
it's not a hard requirement. Like you can play without it honestly a lot of the time. Like I think I went into it twice tonight. But basically what you're looking for is just all your toolboxy stuff. So I've got IP, Phoenix, Cerberus, and Underworld Goddess, just because you end up with a lot of bodies sometimes, and outs just like random stuff. And IP for just the random disruption. Again, I'd like to reiterate that this extra deck was kind of just thrown together, so I don't have everything I need. You definitely want to play Barricade Board Blocker if you play this deck. To recycle, because even just sending the field spell to the graveyard with Bull or Lily, and then being able to get it back during the end phase to make sure that you have a search during the next turn is really good. Plus, it gets a card on your hand. Like, it does a lot. That's it for the links. The Exceeds, and there's like one I'm missing that I would recommend. So, Big Eye and Diabolos for the rank 7s. This has a lot of synergy with the Kashtira stuff because you banish stuff face down, and the Kashtira stuff banish face down, so you end up getting like a lot of mills with the third effect, which is anytime a card is banished face down, you banish equal to the cards they have face down. And what was I gonna say? And the ability just to snipe from the extra deck game 2 or 3 is really good because if you know, I believe a lot of tier players are only on like 1 Kit Kalos. Most Sprite builds are only on 1 Spren, so you can kind of hit those key cards to make things a little bit more difficult for him. And Big Eye's just a Big Eye. It's a good card. And
so
then,
you want to go first with this deck and set one of those up?
so you don't really have to set up an extra deck monster. Like game 2 or 3, if you know that it would really kind of hurt them to snipe their extra deck, do it. Summon Diablos, snipe their extra deck. But it's not a requirement by any means. Usually, most of my boards are just Therion monsters and Kashtira monsters. And as you'll see, even with the rest of the extra deck, like it's all just toolbox stuff. Like Draglubion, this is for the 8,000 damage. That doesn't really come up. This is really good. I usually don't make this blind. I usually make it games 2 or 3. It's good, or it's really good in a simplified game state too. Same with this thing. They're just good monster negate, spell negate, just good generic stuff. Dingirsu for the non-targeting removal, just sends, really nice, plus Zeus. Even in, I guess in some situations, if for some reason all 3 of your Regulus get banished, you could attach one as material to get it back in the graveyard. I mean, that's probably not going to happen, but in case it does. Lancelot, so he attacks directly, and he's a generic negate. The first card or effect that gets activated that turn, it automatically negates
yours
it.
Or theirs.
Exactly. So this is really good in a simplified game state. If you're like, what are they going to top deck? Is it going to be a spell as a monster? Some people just make this. I'm like, I don't really care. It's getting negated. That, and it helps facilitate the big boys.
Ooh, an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah. Facilitate these guys for Zeus. So you can attack directly, get that poke in, and then make Zeus.
All right.
Yeah, so...
And the spiders are also fun.
Yeah, exactly. They have good effects, but you're probably not going to get them off.
Let's see this side, brother.
Again, the theme of the night is, hey, this was thrown together kind of last minute, so this isn't optimal.
The top 4 at the Untapped, that's no joke.
3 Lightning Storm. This deck struggles a lot against like stuff like Flaunderies. It can, so like Lightning Storm to blow them out is nice. Or even just clear boards. Same for Dark Ruler. Turns off the Barrier Statue, turns off the Empen. And it's just good against any other random rogue big combo deck out there. Feather Duster. Silent Graveyard, just something kind of playing around with. It gives you a discard, which helps unclog your hand sometimes. And it's good going first or second against tier. Obviously a little better first, but if you're playing into a tier board, or even if they have this and you have this in hand, you can kind of stop them from getting a lot of value off of it. Very experimental. I'm not sure if I'd play this going forward. What's really nice about this deck is you can play Soul Drain almost... I'm making sure I'm not missing anything, but with 0 consequences. Doesn't affect the deck at all. Hurts Flu, hurts tier. I guess even nichely, if you really wanted more cards to side in.
Yeah, it hurts graveyard and banish, right?
Exactly. So it doesn't hurt you at all. It's really, really nice. It never came up, but it's in theory it's good. And then lastly, it's 2 Tikaboo.
Ooh.
All your dudes are different type, basically. All the Therions, and then the Kashtiras are psychics. So this really comes up where it's a big issue that you can't play underneath this.
Yeah, send it out. The Clockwork seems to be decent too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really good. That's really it. Again, the ratios are under construction. So if you wanna try the deck yourself out, give me some feedback on it. Put it in the comments. Let me know what ratios or texts work for you. I'd love to collaborate on the deck.
All right, thanks, Frank. We're super proud of you for 4th place, man.
Yeah, thanks.
King Dirt himself, guys. All right, we're over and out. Team NCL.